All right, Shalom. Before I begin, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach Kodash. I would like to say double honors to my teachers, the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, the men whom I've learned this truth from. And I'd also like to say Shalom and salutations to the brothers of the hopeful elect that are preaching this word in truth and sincerity. Right, so I'm the brother Shaquat from the branch of Great Millstone, Montreal. Back with another lesson, and the inspiration of this lesson came from a video that was done yesterday by the elder apostle Tahar. Right, and the title of the video is Ahaziah was 22, not 42, when he began to rule. And this video that the apostle did, it's a 12-minute video, but it's a response to a video that was done by, the channel handle One Message Foundation. And it was basically, I believe they're another Israelite camp, or it was actually that's the Muslim guy's channel. And basically what happened was this Muslim guy, basically came up and tried to confound, this Israelite brother here. I don't know what camp that is, but that's pretty much what happened. He tried to confound him, and his whole rallying cry was basically trying to prove that, look, the scriptures are off. The scriptures, there's a mistake in the Bible. That's the point he was trying to make. At the same time trying to confound the brother. But to simply put, the scriptures are perfect, man. And the way things are set up, they're set up in the spirit, and how it's set up is also set up how the Lord wants it to set up. But this mistake, this error that was made, this copy, because that's what this was, right? Matter of fact, you know what? Let me just grab it, because what he brought out was 2 Kings 8 and verse, let's see, 2 Kings 8 and verse 26, as well as 2 Chronicles 22 and verse 2, right? Which are speaking about the same thing and the same person. But the point that Muslims try to make was that, it's showing two different ages for the same guy. So there's a mistake. Yeah, there's a mistake. But guess what? There's a way to, basically find out why that mistake is. And not only that, but what's the right answer, because the Lord wouldn't leave you confused like that, trying to figure out a person's age. You're stuck on trying to figure out a person's age in the scriptures. Well, anyways, it's a way to clear that. So let's get that real quick in the book of I'm gonna start with 2 Kings 8 and verse 22, and it says, and Joram slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David, and Ahaziah his son reigned in his stead. In the 12th year of Joram the son of Ahab, king of Israel, did Ahaziah, the son of Joram, king of Judah, begin to reign. 22 years old was Ahaziah when he began to reign, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Athaliah, the daughter of Omri, king of Israel. Right, so Ahaziah was 22 years old, when he began to reign, and he reigned a year. Right. So in Second Kings 8 and verse 26 says that Ahaziah was 22 years old. All right. So when we go to Second Chronicles 22 and verse 1. And the inhabitants of Jerusalem made Ahaziah, his youngest son, king, and instead, for the band of men that came with the Arabians to the camp had slain all the eldest. So Ahaziah, the son of Joram, king of Judah, reigned. 42 years old was Ahaziah when he began to reign, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. His mother's name was also his mother's name also was Athaliah, the daughter of Omri. Right, so here it says that he's 42 years old. So how do we make sense of this? And obviously I went to Google and looked up I just put Ahaziah 22 or 42, right? But I also watched the video that the elder apostle Tahar did. I also went through the comment board and basically tried to clarify it and proof edit it or read it, whatever, myself, right, to get confirmation for myself. So when I went into Google to see whether Ahaziah was 22 or 42, which book was right and accurate, basically trying to make sense of it, it gave me the answer, right? And the way you make sense of it simply is by looking at Ahaziah's father, which was Jehoram. I think that's how you say his name, Jehoram. Because his father was 40 years old when he died, I believe. Matter of fact, let me see. 2 Kings 8 and verse 16. And in the 5th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, king of Israel, Jehoshaphat being then king of Judah, Jehoram, right, which is Ahaziah's father, the son of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, began to reign. 32 years old was he when he began to reign. So he was 32 years old when he sat on the throne, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. Right, so 32 plus 8, 40. It says, and he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, as did the house of Ahab, for the daughter of Ahab was his wife, and he did evil in the sight of the Lord. Let me see. Right, so he died around 40 something, and the son was 22. So it wouldn't make sense for his son to be the same age as his father, because the son was obviously born after him. So the most obvious answer would be that, or the answer that would make more sense would be Ahaziah was 22, right? So it's as simple as that. So let's go to Google. Ahaziah 22 or 42, that's the question I posed, and the AI overview said Ahaziah's age when he became king is given as both 22 and 42 in the Bible. The most widely accepted explanation is that the 42 is a scribal error in 2 Chronicles 22 and 2, and the correct age is 22, as stated in 2 Kings 8 in verse 26. Elaboration. 2 Kings 8 and 26 clearly states that Ahaziah was 22 years old when he began to reign. 2 Chronicles 22 and verse 2 initially states that Ahaziah was 42 years old when he began to reign. However, many scholars and textual analysis suggest that 42 in 2 Chronicles 22 and 2 is a copyist error, right? Like the apostle also mentioned, that it should be every scholar, not many scholars. It should be every scholar. It should have, any biblical scholar should come to the conclusion that this was an error, right? A copyless error. This conclusion is supported by several factors. The parallel account in 2 Kings, right? The fact that 42 would make Ahaziah older than his father, Jehoram, which is historically implausible, right? So it wouldn't make sense for you to be older than your father. It's as simple as that. So he wasn't 42. He was actually 22. Showing you that 2 Kings 8 and 26 was the right age. And 2 Chronicles 22 and 2 was simply just a copyist error. It says the consistent understanding of Ahaziah's reign as being short following his father's death, right? So he only reigned for a year. He only reigned for a year, which he died, or his reign ended at 22 or 23, Salakia. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that out, just to give him my 2 cents. And also, the scriptures, at times the Lord can set it up like that to sift out undesirables, and also, for the men of the Lord to basically stay sharp and look into these things, because that's what we're supposed to do. Like the apostles, bishops, and elders always teach us or tell us to do, to check things out and proofread them, be studious, and that's what I was basically doing in this video. And Lord willing, it was edifying to the elect and who, out there that are listening. So call Halayimla, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Chakodash. Double honors once again to my teachers, the apostles, bishops and elders of Great Millstone. And I'd like to say shalom and salutations to the elect. Until next time, shalom.